Welcome to Millennial Pagan Podcast, Patreon exclusive Minisode. We're your hosts, Autumn Wolf
and Jera Stone. How you doing, Autumn?
Better. Good. How about you?
A lot of interesting magic and energy has exploded in my face, and I'm not taking too likely to it.
Sorry, you can't say exploded in your face right after you described that alcoholic beverage to me. So now you have to tell our listeners.
Okay, so I because of all the things that have been going on, I needed to relax. So I mixed apple cider with a little bit of Captain Morgan Jacko Blast, which is a pumpkin spiced rum. And I inadvertently said, this is good. It's like autumn in your mouth.
Which time I was like, I haven't had that compliment, but thanks. So you can get all the innuendos out of the way. Everyone else can giggle.
Yes.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
So last weekend we went and did a thing.
Yeah, we kind of jumped in a car, went down to Tucson, turned around and came back. Yeah,
it was our first event as a podcast.
Yeah, we went down to the Tuan.
The Tucson area Witches and Pagans.
There you go.
Fall Festival.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. If you guys are following us on Facebook, you can actually see about a 20-something minute video that we took while we were there.
Yep, with all their vendors and some of their leaders. So apparently the Tucson area Witches and Pagans do a festival during the spring and the fall. They've been doing this for, I know they've been an organization since 1988. Mm-hmm. So they've been around for a while. They had it out in the fall festival, at least, at the Universal Unitarian Church, which is an actually gorgeous venue.
Yeah.
I was pretty astounded by how nice that venue is.
Yeah, I mean, and even, it was a little on the small side, but it was still well made.
Right, yeah, it's a free festival. Even though it was a smaller size festival, the quality of vendors was pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a whole lot of like the witchy knick-knacky kind of vendors. They had one incense vendor, a couple of different clothing or beauty options, some kind of tools, and it was quality art.
Yeah. I picked up a couple of nice things. Mm-hmm. I got some incense. I got some I actually got a sage spray, mm-hmm. which was actually kind of nice and actually works rather well, if I do say so. Oh. And I also picked up some we were actually gifted some lip balms.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. And you got them all somehow. So I'll have to hunt those down.
Yeah, I know where they are. So.
Oh, okay.
At least I think I do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Unless I threw them in my purse.
I think you threw one in your purse. But we'll find out.
It's a mysterious thing in there.
Yeah, but if you guys, if you do watch the video, and if you guys want to know anything more about those vendors, it is on the video, and we'll make sure to also post up on the Facebook page where you can find those vendors as well.
Yep, because a lot of those vendors they had some quality wares, mm-hmm. and I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, but we didn't really stay too long down there because we had to get back up to the Phoenix area.
Yep, we did. And I believe you had the ability to go to a ritual. I was feeling still a little sick mm-hmm. and down. But you went to Reclaiming's ritual, and I believe they did an Alice in Wonderland theme.
Yeah, it was an Alice in Wonderland theme. It was kind of the intention was find out where you need to go and find the way to get there, essentially. Oh. And which I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the aesthetic of it. Mm-hmm. It was very well planned and organized because it was actually done by the students of the Ritual Muses. Mm-hmm. They actually had a 6-month course, and they put all this together. They did everything from start to finish, from idea to actually putting it on. And it was very, very well done. And it actually, the magic from that really is kind of what started my whole magical blow up.
Right. Yeah.
And I actually remember I was thinking to myself the entire time, why am I here? Mm-hmm. Why am I here? And I couldn't really place it at the time why I kept asking myself that question. Mm-hmm. And then Cora, who was actually aspecting as Alice from Alice in Wonderland, she came up to me and she actually said, sometimes you don't know why you're somewhere until after you've been there. And it kind of sparked in me a little bit more, but it wasn't until the next day when I kind of realized I always keep asking myself, why am I still at the job that I'm at? Mm-hmm. I have not been happy in this job for a few months. Mm-hmm.
For
almost a year at this point.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started the process in my own head to find something new.
So yay, change.
Which is good, and which kind of also tied into to my Coven's ritual as well, mm-hmm. which was kind of unhooking the ties that are keeping you back. Mm-hmm. So I think with those two combined, it kind of forced what happened during this last week. And definitely a kick in the pants and hopefully the right direction. Mm-hmm. But the job site that I'm currently at is closing down in 2 months. Completely.
Ooh, shock.
So sorry to all the people that I put out of a job. Oops.
So, because I was feeling sick, I kind of went the solitary route, and I ended up doing a spell that I worked on for a day or two ahead of time. So, it was necessary to get it completed. And I wrote 2 different letters to 2 different people that I had to cut ties with. That just some baggage was still being held in that area. And surprisingly, I wrote a longer letter to the person who I don't want to cut out of my life, but that I wanted to remove an aspect of our relationship from. And I was a little surprised about that because the other letter was to my ex-fiance, and it was a lot shorter. It was a lot sweeter. It was, or I wouldn't even say sweeter. It was a lot to the point of done is done. So done. All the done.
Right.
And so the other letter was, okay, we've gone through so much stuff and a lot of it's hanging around and it's not being useful for what we need to do as a team or as a people, that because we have to continue working together or we choose to continue to work together. And so I have to, I just had to say, you know, I did some wrong. You did some wrong. Let's move past it. And I think it's working. We'll see. Have to do a little bit more interaction with that particular person. But I ended up just burning it in the fire pit. And I felt very confident that I released a lot of like tension and ties and holding back things.
That's good.
And so, yeah. But why are both of those things important during Mabon? Well, what is Mabon?
The second harvest.
And autumn equinox.
That's it.
Yeah, it's one of the 2 times of the year where daytime and nighttime,
nighttime,
are equal.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talk during Mabon or the autumn equinox of making balancing acts in your life, balancing and clearing and rebalancing the life. It's also the Wiccan Thanksgiving, and it's closer to the traditional Thanksgiving times. It's actually, I believe it was FDR changed when American Thanksgiving was to give us a longer Christmas season.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, if you actually look at American harvest times, when we're eating the things that we eat at Thanksgiving, our in season is now, not in November.
Yay for commercialism.
Yay. You know, at the very end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, who do you have?
Santa Claus.
Yep, and then Macy's doors open.
Yep.
And they never close. There's Christmas stuff at Michael's.
There's Christmas stuff at Target.
Don't say that.
No, okay, so there's a picture that I actually took probably about, I want to say 5 years ago, where it was October 1st, and I was standing in front of a giant Christmas display at Walmart.
So yesterday I was in Costco, and they had a Nutcracker that played the first Noel, and I was like, no, it's not your turn yet, you bastard. So I wasn't a very happy person about that. But anyway, so Thanksgiving. A major thing that I became aware of this year is how Mabon became named Mabon.
Okay.
So Mabon or the autumn equinox, it's very controversial. And a lot of people who know the history are very anti-using Mabon. Because Mabon is a god that kind of fits better with spring. But because he has a very similar down into the dark and coming up story like Korra, they kind of wanted to throw him in there to fit somehow. And anyway, a lot of people aren't okay with that. And so a lot of the different options that I've heard that I'm kind of interested in are cornucopias. I liked that one. Another name is Glenitch Tag. That's probably wrong. The Cups in Denton, Florida, uses this name, which is originally an ADF name, and it means even day. I kind of like it because it has a more druidic and northern feel to it. And since we use Yule for winter solstice, because that's one of the major heathen holidays, it fits to flow into that.
Okay.
And because all the other names we have are either Celtic or Norse, so it's just Mabon isn't. And that just fits a little bit better.
So how would we go about bringing that change?
And just the way you use it. Like I said, I like cornucopias because it kind of does give a sense of a harvest and a bigger harvest as opposed to Mabon. And I also really did like the Glenitch tag or Gligish tag? Glugigish tag? Who knows?
Luganus.
So, I don't know. How do you feel about the name Mabon?
I mean, I personally haven't done too much research on it. And being that Mabon was, kind of introduced to me as one of my first actual rituals.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing for me, but then again, I've never done really too much. I haven't done too much work, or I don't really know too much about Mabon as a deity. So the real story comes from an author, last name Kelly, was asked by the people who were publishing the Green Egg, which was an older publishing that it's no longer around, sadly. And they said, well, what do you call the holidays? And he said, well, this is what I call the holidays. And pretty much the whole world erupted, but somehow Mabon stuck, despite the fact that everyone went, wrong. And Mabon is more a god of youth. It's like a sacred child or youth child or something like that. And just knowing that he's more a god of spring in his story is a little interesting to me. But you know what? It fit for him. It obviously fits for plenty of other people. Other people. Yeah. But I think I might be trying a different thing in the future. For me, maybe try and figure out the actual pronunciation of that word so I can actually properly use it. Or just go with cornucopias. I kind of like that. I mean, if we go back to Druids of the Grove, you could probably ask them. They might actually have a better way to pronounce it.
No, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my little spiel on Mabon. Any last words before we move on to what we promised our Patreon listeners?
Yeah. I'd say this time of year, especially because it's going into Samhain, go with the flow. This just seems like a continuing theme throughout a couple people that I've talked to who have done Mabon rituals. It's, this is definitely a time where the harvest is strong. It's time to reap what we sow, and it's time to literally just go with what we have, go with what we've been given, and don't question it. Just go with it at this point. At least it's from me, because of everything that's just going on in my little circle.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Especially since for us desert dwellers, it's not really one of our harvests yet. Our harvests are more winter spring. Like they're back to back. They're kind of never ending in the beautiful weather of 6 months, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And right now we're getting to the rejoice of the possibly 100s being done. Us right now, specifically in this year, we are being hit with a hurricane.
Yeah.
And it's lovely because it's raining. And when I first moved out here, desert rain stunk. Like it has this weird smell to it.
It does.
And then you start, like, your brain gets rewired, and that smell is not a bad smell anymore. It's a good smell. And it's that weird feeling when I first walked out when it rained, and I go, wait a minute, this smelled really bad, like just last year to me.
Well, I mean, I've lived here all my life, so it's not something that's different for me. At least for me, I don't know. Every time it rains, I smell a rebirth. It's weird for me because out here, all I smell every single day is dirt. But because it gets everywhere. Oh yeah, it does, especially after the monsoon season. And then going into the actual, fall rains, it actually, you can smell the greenery. You can actually smell something other than dirt for a little bit. And it's refreshing. Like I actually walked out of work today, and I actually said to my coworker who was giving me a ride home, it smells amazing. And he's just like, I've never really noticed that before. Thank you.
I did the first time it rained out here, but in my first year or my first fall, I moved out in November, and we had a very rainy winter that year. And the house that was on our right was redoing their backyard with a lot of wet, and then the house to our left wasn't taking care of their pool. So my house was just full of mosquitoes. And there's a certain type of breed of mosquito out here. I don't know if they're hardier. I'm allergic to mosquitoes to begin with. The mosquitoes in Georgia would give me bad welts. The mosquitoes out here that first year, I had a constant fever because of how many bites I was having, how I was having to deal with them. And they lasted longer. They were a bigger welt. So like the rain also came with this dread of there's going to be mosquitoes again.
Yeah.
In my house. And I'm burning citronella candles for camping, for campsites in the house. And they're still everywhere. Like our dog was jumping at them. I was like, what is this? Where did I move to? So I guess the moment I kind of moved away from the mosquitoes, because they were in a very certain town where everybody wanted to show off that they had water things.
Yeah.
Because that is when you live in the desert and you have a water thing.
It's a rarity.
Yes, and it's a sign of wealth, like in the South when you have a wraparound porch.
Yeah.
So it was very an interesting transition for me.
Yeah.
So anyway, we promised a couple of episodes ago that we would talk about intro books and suggestions for newbie witches on what books to read.
Now, I will tell you right now that I am in no way, shape, or form a reader. I do not do books of any sort.
Nope.
At least I try not to.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose, at least. It is very difficult for me to actually go through a book and actually read it start to finish within a couple of years. But I know that you, Autumn, are a book-loving, hoarding dragon.
I'm a bibliophile.
You are a bibliophile.
It's on my Twitter. It's also on my Tinder. Yeah, I have a Tinder now. Let's not discuss that. Anyway, That was another part of my Maven experience, is getting myself back out there. But anyway, moving on. So I do host a book club. I am a big book nerd, which, by the way, when you say I host a book club and you're under 30, people look at you like, you're not an old lady. What's wrong? It's like, no, I really, just shush. Anyway, I have 5 suggestions for the newbie baby witches and our listeners. And don't think I'm calling you a baby witch is a derogatory term. I mean, like, fresh, new, just found this path, want to look into it. What do I read? And the first one I always suggest, it's a terrible title for what it is, but The Idiot's Guide to Witchcraft and Wicca. And the reason why the Idiot's Guides in general really do bring in authors who know their stuff. It's not the same authors that just learn a new subject and rewrite them. It's actual authors who have published out in paganism that came together and worked together on this guide. Why I like suggesting it is because it's going to give you an overview of almost every little bullet point in witchcraft and Wicca that you can get. So you're going to get different traditions. You're going to get non-Wiccan traditions. You're going to get different aspects of magic, how to do magic, how to start your meditation, how to start and any of the little basic things. What are all these tools? What are all these holidays? You're going to get a great overview that is just going to tell you whether or not you're even interested in anything else other than that. And there's chakras, there's spirit work. It's just, it for its size and for its name, it is a wealth of information that if you don't know from what you've heard from us, if you actually want to learn something or if you want to learn a specific subject, pick up this book, read the little section on it, and it's just so well written and so concise that it will really help you.
Okay.
So that's why I suggest and always say The Idiot's Guide first. The second book that I always suggest, and this is a very specific Wicca book, and it's a very specific non-traditional, what is modern Wicca, or what is Wicca, what it looks like now, practiced by solitary and by traditions. And it is Wicca for Beginners by Thea Sabin. It is small, compact, and beautiful. And I always say, go grab that. If you want something that everybody who's ever read will tell you to read, you want to go and get what is colloquially called Uncle Bucky's Big Blue Book. It is Raymond Buckland's complete book of witchcraft and Wicca. Why we suggest that one? It is an older book. Yes, Uncle Bucky, Raymond Buckland, was one of the first writers, one of the first American writers on Wicca and witchcraft. His complete guide is a complete guide. I wouldn't say it's as complete as The Idiot's Guide, but what it is it's going to give you a great look at what magic is going to look like when it's performed in ritual. You might not get everything from the what you should feel, what you should work on personal side of it, like The Idiot's Guide. The Idiot's Guide is going to give you more shadow work, meaning more working with yourself to develop your magic, whereas Uncle Bucky is going to show you how to set up a ritual, how to set up an altar, how to start your ceremonial practice, what you're going to see when you go out in public for rituals. And you're not going to be shocked. Even to this day, the foundation is still there. It's the same foundation. You're not going to be surprised by something that's going on in a ritual that's done in the basic normal way, not some crazy stuff that some of us reclaimers do. But you're going to see it. And you're going to read it in Uncle Bucky's, and it's a great way to, if you're going to go out in the community, read Bucky's book first. So, Raymond Buckland's Complete Guide to Witchcraft and Wicca. Number 4 is 2 books, technically, but they are a back-to-back series. And it is Scott Cunningham's Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner and Living Wicca. Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner, it was revolutionary when it came out. It is also another oldie but goodie. It's going to give you some more of that shadow work, a lot of that understanding of what a solitary Wicca or Wiccan is going to be. You get a little bit of traditional information or a little bit of information about different traditions. And then Living Wicca kind of expands on that. One thing I will say that a lot of people do, they read Cunningham and they stop, and they never read anything else. I love Cunningham. He's an amazing, basic, newbie, witchy, here's your education stuff. It is very 101. It is very light. It's very fluffy. Not in a dangerous way. You can do it. You can still get where you need to go. But don't stop with Cunningham. Too many people do, and even he said so many times, don't just read me. Don't just read me. Read other things. He even said at certain points that his publisher just wanted him to push out stuff. He has a bunch of stuff, a bunch of great stuff. Go read Cunningham. Go read Uncle Bucky. Go read Starhawk. Go read other people as well. If you're not a big reader, talk to people who have read. But I cannot not understate the value of don't just read one author. Mm-hmm. And then my last suggestion is The Spiral Dance. If you have been listening to us, you are interested in what we're talking about. The Spiral Dance by Starhawk is going to give you an overview of what reclaiming magic is, what reclaiming Wicca is, and it is just a great resource. The book that I had of it is the 20th anniversary, and the good part and kind of the bad part of it about the 20th anniversary rendition, one, it's 20 years old now. But the 20th anniversary rendition has notes that she wrote 10 years after its publishing and then 20 years after its publishing about how her actual view has changed. Mm-hmm. And it's really kind of inspiring to watch an elder go from this is what I felt 20, 40 now years ago, and this is how I feel now. And how that's changed the community, how that's changed my practice. Some of it was a little frustrating because you'll read the 10-year notes and then you go to the 20-year notes and she's like, yeah, I still feel the same. And it's like, no, could you expand on what you wrote? Give me a little bit more, because just saying what you feel the same doesn't work for me. Sorry. But those are my 5 intro to witchcraft books, and specifically Wicca. I apologize, I am specifically Wiccan, so I am not going to be the best source for Astaru books. I am going to be expanding what I'm reading to, say, Astaru Heathen and other traditions that are outside of Wicca, but I haven't gotten there yet. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, listeners, you're kind of stuck with what I know. But hey, I guess you like us?
Yeah.
So what I would like to do, maybe not the next Minisode, because that one will probably be our like, oh my God, Samhain just happened. Let's talk about Samhain stuff. But maybe the Minisode for November, talking about the 5 important books about the history of paganism and the history of what we're doing now, how it came to be. So if you are interested in that, drop us a line and tell us, and I will construct a 5-book list on how to actually learn the history of what the hell we're doing.
Yeah. So what I got out of that, at least personally, is let Cunningham be your gateway drug.
He is a great gateway drug, actually. Yeah. I wouldn't say should be your baby book.
Right.
I definitely say grab the guide or grab Thea Sabin's beginner's manual before you grab Cunningham. He's not like, you're not going to get lost in Cunningham. You're not going to misunderstand something from him, but he's middle schooler, not elementary.
Okay.
So you're not going to get like your elementary basics. So if you've gotten lost in a couple of our episodes and had to go Google some things, which please do, or ask us questions, don't feel embarrassed that you don't know something that we're talking about. I'm perfectly happy to go over it, even if that means we go over it in another episode. But Cunningham, yeah, the best way to describe it, he's middle school, not elementary.
Okay.
So I would say The Idiot's Guide is a great elementary. I also say Buckland's more middle school, almost 8th to 9th grade, just because it's more the actual physical stuff.
Right. So with all that, we do have a couple things that we're looking forward to.
Well, I wouldn't say looking forward to specifically this. November 2nd in Toronto is going to be the Parliament of World Religions meeting. And what I remember about last year, it met in Australia, and it focused a lot on Aboriginal traditions and not allowing Aboriginal beliefs to be whitewashed, allowing the Aboriginals, meaning the natives of Australia, to continue to do their religion their way, giving them a voice. And it also included Native Americans and a couple of other different native tribes or native groups being able to speak at these traditions or at this parliament. So it's being held in Toronto, so I'm hoping we'll see a lot of Northern American traditions being honored or displayed and talked about, but I don't know what the actual focus of this year is going to be. Okay. Because last year, like I said, it was focused solely on Aboriginal traditions.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting to find out when the time comes.
Yeah, so if you live in Toronto and you want to go, it's November 2nd. If you don't and you want to look it up online. It's the Parliament of World Religions meeting. Events coming up in the pagan world. If you're in Phoenix, Phoenix Pagan Pride is having a fundraiser that is a chili and mead competition cook-off. If you like mead, if you like chili, if you like cook-offs, if you like hanging out with pagans and having food, on October 6th from 8 to 3 p.m., they're going to have that up at North Mountain Park. And it's going to be, I believe, children under 12. Yep, eat free. And it's $10 per person, cash only, but $10 for chili and mead.
Yeah.
Yum.
I mean, a glass of mead is, $5 in and of itself.
Oh, yeah. You can also purchase those tickets ahead of time at Fantasia Crystals, or you can buy them at the event. And you can also bring $1 bills for the raffle and for cold water. And that sounds amazing to me. An easy way to help support Pagan Pride and see people who are going to be at Pagan Pride ahead of time. Mm-hmm. And chili and mead.
I wish I was going.
Why aren't you going?
I'm actually going to a Harry Potter Day of Mischief over in Westworld of Scottsdale.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm breaking out the Hagrid outfit. And I got invited as part of my Cosplay Always group.
Aw, neat.
So
that's two great things that you can do October 6th. You can either come see me at the Chili and Mead Cook-Off, or you could go see Jera as Hagrid and hang out there. You want chili and mead.
I would love chili and mead. When I found out that they needed mead judges, I almost jumped out of my skin.
I was thinking about you, and they were like, we still need a chili judge, because I don't particularly like kidney beans in my chili, but I like the flavor. So I was like, I really can't. I already have bias on chili. I should not do that. Plus, I just don't have the filling capacity that I used to. On my current medication, I could probably chug down a whole gallon of chili, but
maybe
that's not going to be going on during the 6th.
I'm just imagining the Simpsons episode where Homer was a chili judge and he had to drink wax for the insanity pepper.
Oh,
yeah.
No, thank you. Anyway, Pagan Book Talk will be meeting at Changing Hands Tempe. Don't go to the Phoenix one. I won't be there. On October 7th at 10 a.m. October 8th is going to be a new moon. So that sounds like this upcoming weekend is going to be a big witchy weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the Phoenix area, you got a lot of stuff to do. If you're not in the Phoenix area, you have a new moon. Mm-hmm. You better get out some witchy stuff for that new moon.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say thank you to our Patreon supporters for continuing to listen to us, continuing to give us your great feedback, telling me your packages have arrived on time.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you guys are thrilled with the quality of the stickers and the buttons that you're receiving. Please feel free to post pictures and tag us on Twitter, Instagram of where you're posting those stickers, and just tell people that you actually enjoyed them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. You're making this possible.
Yeah, and thank you just for big and foremost your continued support with just this little brainchild that Autumn had and that I'm helping with.
Thank you. So, as we normally say here at Millennial Pagan Podcast, merry meet,
merry part,
and merry meet
again. I almost said merry mead again.
Oh, you wanted to...